put it on there on the laptop.
But
I have the MP4 and the audio, but the
video.
The video.
No, that's fine. Yeah,
but it's still empty. There's nothing happening there. Empty.
But now it's recording. Right?
It's now
Yeah. Okay.
Can you be seated, please? Thank you. Om Swastiastu. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom. Nama Budaya. Salam sejahtera. A very warm welcome and a good morning, honorable, distinguished speakers, panelists, all delegates of WTN and TIFE 2023 on the second day of the conference. Welcome to Bapak Vicentes Jumadu, the Deputy of Tourism, Products and Events, Ibu Masburo, Director of MICE, of the Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy of the Republic of Indonesia. Honorable Alan Setong, the former Tourism Minister of Seychelles and eTN, WTN President Dr. Vita Taro, Chairman of WTN, Jurgen Stevens, Chairwoman of WTN Indonesian Chapter, Ibu Muri Astuti, and all distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. So exciting for the second day of the conference? Yeah. So we hope that today we have more than filled with discussion, especially this morning that we have 10 panelists that we will discuss together. Without further ado, for the first program, we would like to welcome you remarks from the chairman of WTN, please.
Good morning, everybody, and I hope you had a good and restful night here at this beautiful hotel. I have to say the beds are fantastic, and so we're ready for another day. And I wanted to welcome, specifically coming from Jakarta this morning, the deputy. I'm sorry, I have to look at the director of MICE, Ms. Masru, I'm so sorry, and Dr. Vincentius Jamado from the Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Tourism and Creative Industry. I think it has changed over the years in Jakarta. And we had a good talk this morning, and go back with the ministry a long time. I know the building he's in, and I'm also looking forward going to Jakarta after this event. So anyways, we're ready for everyone. We're very informal here, and we're going to be we are live streaming already, so everyone on our live stream platform, on eTurbo News, the travel news groups, meetings.travel, since we have MICE here today, aviation.travel, and wherever you're watching us right now, please stay tuned. And if you miss any of this portion, it will all be archived and replayed over the next few days. And if you're not yet a member of the World Tourism Network, just go to our website at wtn.travel, click on join, because you got to be part of our club of small, medium enterprises, government, and also large companies working together from 133 countries. So our program today has changed a little bit because we wanted to hear from the government in Jakarta, and we're going to put this right up front. So this would be a good opening, I think. And after this, we're going to what we missed last night, the climate-friendly travel club, and Professor Jeffrey Lippman will start this off with Greg. And after this, we have our panel discussion, and hopefully we can finish for a late lunch, but breakfast was so good, maybe we don't even need the lunch. So without further delay, I give it to our master of ceremony so we can get going. Again, welcome everybody.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Welcoming remarks will be presented by Indonesian Chapter Chairwoman Ibu Rudi. Yes.
Good morning, everyone. Assalamualaikum, I have to say. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Sejahtera untuk kita semua. So this is our second day that we are having our conference. It's a very strategic issues that we're discussing from yesterday, and we are looking forward to continue and on the panelists that WTN is brought up. And of course, first and foremost, we would like to hear from Vincentius to welcome everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Ibu. Now we are going to witness the signing MOU. I would like to invite Professor Jeffrey Lippman and also sorry. Yeah, we would like to invite Dr. Vincentius to do the speech. Thank you.
Well, I wasn't supposed to deliver a speech actually, this is not a tight protocolar. I think this is really informal meeting, so there's no need to be so tight and protocolar. Well, anyway, I just would like to say thank you very much for this opportunity to have this WTN conference, and especially when we talk about the medical and health tourism, because this is something like happening now, or the most trending topic for Indonesia after the COVID-19. The government is really focusing on how we can try to, find a new product of tourism, because the products that we have so far, I think it's a routine and it's not something new. While when you look at one of the trends of the global tourism, the people are now trying to be, try to find or try to seek for clean destination, healthy destination, healthy life. So that's why the government is really concerned about this kind of product. Okay, I'm one of the deputies in the ministry is in charge for the tourism products and the events. So I'm quite happy to be here today and be among with you with all the, I think, outstanding speakers today. And I would like also to learn from you, and then we try to share insights, opinions, ideas in terms of health and medical tourism. So again, thank you very much on behalf of the Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy, and let's put together our ideas, opinions, insights into developing this kind of new product in tourism. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we would like to invite Professor Jeffrey for presentation before the signing ceremony. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good morning. Like the advertisements on the airline, I would like everybody to know this is an emergency discussion, so please turn off your mobile phones. It is actually, I want to just give 2 minutes of context for you, Minister, because we had a spirited discussion yesterday, and I made the unwelcome point that the biggest issue facing tourism at the moment is climate change. And as you think about developing a new product, what you have to think is that there's a challenge which is inevitable, not for tourism, but for Indonesia and for every country in the world. And this is going to be COVID on steroids, because there's nobody inventing a vaccine. The only vaccine is to reduce what we've been putting up there for the past 75, 100 years. And the people who put it up there are spending a lot of money to make sure that we don't reduce it fast enough to save our kids. That's the reality. So amongst the discussion of medical tourism and other stuff, which is really important, it's a subset of what is coming down the pike. And I said yesterday, and I repeat today, however bad this year has been in everywhere, and here in Bali even months ago when you had floods, when you're not getting floods, when it's going to be hotter than it's been before, and tourists who came for a certain climate, they're going to stop and think, hey, I'm not sure I want to be there when it's like that. The change is going to be coming from all sides at the same time, and Indonesia will not be the only country, but you will have to look at it from your perspective. And yesterday I had the opportunity to talk about an initiative that I've been involved in for 1,000 years on how do you make an intelligent response to climate change. And we have been working, thanks to the government of Malta, for the past 5 years to put in place a system that we call climate-friendly travel. And some of the people have heard this yesterday. I apologize. Climate-friendly travel simply means that when you're developing products, marketing, destination management, you factor in at the beginning that you have to adapt to the climate change, number one, and number two, at the same time, and probably under instructions from a different ministry, you have to do things which help to reduce Indonesia's overall carbon, not the tourism carbon, Indonesia's overall carbon, and we're just a small subset of that. We think we're the center of attention, but if you talk to people who are in the Ministry of Agriculture, they say they're the center of attention. And what we've been trying to do in Sunex Malta is to create a framework, starting with young people, educating them, building a registry for strong ambitions in this field, for people, companies and communities to register what they're doing, to think about it, to develop plans. I talked yesterday about developing a plan B. You have already in the ministry, I worked with them for many, many years. I told people yesterday, I was a good friend of Minister Ardika. I did a 2.5-year major study of Bali, a green growth plan for Bali. And we built a system based on Trihita Karana at the base. And so all of this we discussed yesterday. And I am working with the Minister of Tourism in Malta to try to make this a global system. We're taking these young people that we've trained and we're turning them around and saying, now you run a chapter in your own country. So last week, 2 days ago, we launched 50 chapters in the least developed countries of the world. And next year, the same time, we launch another 50 in small island states. So we're trying to find a response, and we're just one of 100 people who are doing the same thing. And there's a part of this system, and it is a system which nobody has really focused on. We get a lot of marketing hype about green travel. We get a lot of, if I can say so, bullshit about carbon offsetting and paying for the airlines. You know, click here and get the insurance, click here and sit next to the person you came on the trip with, click here and buy a carbon offset. You know, that's how the industry operates. We think we need to be educating consumers, and what we're going to talk about today is one of two social enterprises that we've put together. One of them is designed to help countries think through a plan B. Think through, because you'll have to do it. We won't do it. You'll have to do it. And we want you to think about it before somebody's coming along from the UN or elsewhere and say, these are the standards you have to meet. Because you're going to have to change your system, and it's your system across Indonesia, and particularly here in Bali, because it's a focal point for entry into tourism into the country. So today, we're going to do something which is a second major release, which is we are going to talk about a climate-friendly travel club for consumers. And I'm going to stop speaking. You'll be relieved to hear. Thomas will be particularly relieved to hear. And Peter will be even more relieved to hear. And I'm going to ask Jed Brown to come up here. And Jed Brown, who you heard speak from the floor yesterday, is a man with a lot of experience in the tourism sector. He was the marketing director for Routes for many years, which is the place where the airlines and the airports talk about their coming frequencies every year. He was the founder of something called Low Season Traveller, which was a revolutionary idea of persuading hotels to come together to attract people during the off-season using some sort of common thinking. And he's a Manchester United fan, so he can't be all that. Jed has got a short presentation, and then we're going to sign an MOU, which I haven't seen yet. We're going to sign an MOU with Thomas, which he's going to pull out of his back pocket. And then you don't have to listen to me anymore today. So with that, I'm going to invite Jed to come up here and do what he's been aching to do for the past 2 days. Oops.
Good morning. Good to see you all. I'd like to start off just to say a few words of thanks actually to Jürgen and to Moody, and also to Peter, of course, as well, for putting on this fantastic event and for allowing us to be here and to speak to so many people. Yesterday was a great day for those of you that were here. Really enjoyed yesterday. We talked about some very important topics, which actually are topics which we've been talking about at the Sun programme for quite some time. We heard about small island states and the importance of small island states, and that's something that, as Jeffrey just mentioned, that we're quite passionate about. We talked about social enterprises yesterday. Jens was talking about that. We're very passionate about socially conscious enterprises, and indeed, you know, we've created a couple of social enterprises as well. And we also talked. We talked as well, I think, a little bit more about the importance of climate-friendly travel. You know, about how the environment is changing really rapidly, and that's something that obviously is very close to our heart, as Jeffrey has mentioned a few times. Jeffrey mentioned just before as well, and I just think it's important for us all to understand this, that yesterday we had some spirited conversations, and we did, and sometimes, I don't know about you, but it feels a little bit uncomfortable. It feels a little bit uncomfortable when we're maybe having a different opinion and disagreeing about certain things. And I think something that I've learned since joining the Sun programme is we have weekly meetings. We have more than weekly meetings, actually. And a lot of the conversations, they're really uncomfortable. We disagree quite a lot. And I think at times I can be as disagreeable as Jeffrey can be. And we all do disagree quite a lot. But that's something that we celebrate. it's important when you're talking about the environment, you have to have the difficult conversations. And it does feel uncomfortable, but nevertheless, it's important to have those conversations anyway. So I just wanted to put a bit of context on that we shouldn't be afraid to have difficult conversations and feel uncomfortable. And there's no, again, when we have those conversations at the Sun Programme, that we know we're all coming from it from the same place. We all know what we want to achieve, and that's a good future for our kids. And that's the starting point. So therefore, when you understand that, it's not personal. It's just a different way. Maybe we have a different opinion of getting there, but ultimately we're on the same page. So we do have those difficult discussions. Right, I'll get into the presentation now. You'll be glad to know. There we go. So yes, my name is Jed Brown. As you can see, I'm the co-founder and CEO of this climate-friendly travel club, the founder of Low Season Traveller, as you heard, and I'm also the executive director on the World Tourism Association for Culture and Heritage as well. And I've entitled this, Travel, We Have a Problem, which I think we all. And that problem is, how can something that does so much good, and we know how much good it does, you've seen this slide a million times, I'm quite sure, about how tourism is worth 9% of the GDP, 1 in 11 jobs worldwide, 1.5 trillion in exports, 30% of services. It does some incredible good. It increases peace, we were hearing yesterday. How can it have effects that do so much harm, frankly? And what you can see here is, you can see that picture at the top left there was taken in Kenya. And I don't know if anybody's been to Kenya. I know we have somebody here from Kenya who's going to be speaking later. But you have sometimes up to 30 safari vehicles all around a single kill in Kenya. Tourists go home, we've got protests, we're starting to see a lot more of that, and it's coming back again now, in particular in Europe, but certainly in Asia as well. Santorini, absolutely overrun. When you look at the picture of Santorini, by the way, and also Barcelona in the bottom left, I always think, what's it like to live there? We were talking yesterday, it was Peter that mentioned it, and he said travel is about making memories. And that's a very traveller-centric view of things. It's not just about the traveller, it's about the people that live in these destinations that we also have a responsibility for in our industry. So when I look at some of those pictures of so-called over-tourism, I always think, what's the life of the locals like? It must be absolutely horrendous, frankly. And just a point on that, over-tourism, you hear this term again and again, and it's an absolute misnomer. Please be under no illusions. If anything is going to be over or under anything, it requires one thing. Anybody know what that one thing is? A point of reference. It needs a point of reference. I always say I'm overweight. How do I know that I'm overweight? Because physicians, thank you, physicians have told us that for a man, a male of my height and my life choices, that there is a range of a perfect healthy weight. And if I'm over that range, I'm overweight. If I'm under that range, I'm underweight. In tourism, what is the optimum number of visitors for Bali? What is it? We should know that. And if we don't, we can't say that Bali would suffer from over-tourism or Barcelona would suffer from over-tourism because we don't know what the optimum number is. So that's what, again, we were talking about yesterday with regards to carrying capacity, understanding what the limits are, because there are limits. You can't just keep welcoming more and more tourists. That's not going to work. So yeah, we're in an industry where the poorest and the most vulnerable are hit the hardest. There's two graphics here, and I put them on one slide, thinking I was being clever, cutting down the number of slides, but of course it means that you can't read them, so I'll have to tell you what you've got. On the left-hand side, you've got a map which loosely shows the world's wealth. Where you see the dark green and the different shades of green, they're relatively wealthy. They're doing okay. Where you see the reds and the oranges, they're actually the poorest countries in the world. And obviously we have a little bit of a split, broadly speaking, between the Northern Hemisphere and the Southern Hemisphere. On the second one, we see the per capita CO2 emissions from aviation and tourism for 2018. And the darker the orange or the red, the more that country is emitting. And really this was just to highlight that what we know already, and we spoke about again, Jeffrey mentioned it yesterday, is that the world's poorest and most vulnerable are the ones that are hit hardest by climate change, and they're the least responsible for climate change as well, which is, of course, massively unfair. But that's something that we consider. We're in an industry where tourism absolutely needs aviation. We talked about this yesterday. The aircraft fleet size, globally, commercial fleet, is going to double by 2040. How do we know that? Really easily accessible on Airbus and Boeing. If you go onto their company reports, you can see what they're projecting. So again, they're looking to double global visitation in the next, what, 20 years, less than 20 years. And that's really interesting because we know that there isn't enough sustainable aviation fuel. So when we're talking about the future of aviation, there's a lot of talk about hydrogen and there's a lot of talk about electric. We're nowhere near those solutions. That's way, way, way down the line. The best chance we have right now is sustainable aviation fuel. Today, there is enough sustainable aviation fuel for 5% of the world's flights, just 5%. And that's a big problem because that means you've got a resource that's really limited in its supply, and yet the demand is incredibly high. And that's why it's 5 times the cost of regular aviation fuel. And that's a big problem because who do you think has got the money for that small 5% amount that we're currently able to produce at the moment? The big guys. The big guys. Do you think it's the small island destinations? Do you think it's the least developed countries on Earth? No way. No way. They're way, way down the pecking order. That's something towards. So yeah, aviation is not climate friendly. We know this. I'm not telling you anything new. But what's interesting is relating to the other slide, the airlines are saying we're going to double our fleet size in the next 20 years, less than 20 years. Yet we know, the IPCC, and Jeffrey labours this point time and again, and he's absolutely right. Nobody seems to be picking out on that first target, 2025, peak greenhouse gas emissions, I can't even say it. And everybody's focused on 2030 and 2050 targets, because that's further down the line. We don't need to worry about that. I might be well gone by then, I might be retired by then. It's not a problem for me, it's a problem for somebody else, they can deal with it. The first one is peaking by 2025. Do you think that the world's airlines are sitting around right now figuring, right, in 2 years' time, we're not going to be able to fly any new routes anywhere. We'll have to peak. They're not thinking that at all. So we have a big problem.
The real is that mankind produces 4,000 times as many emissions as we did in the pre-industrial era. And most of these carbon offset projects are about planting trees. There is not room on the planet to plant 4,000 times as many trees. It simply can't be the answer. And the problem with it is it's the easy solution. It's the solution that if you're sitting in the C-suite, you can write a check and check the box and have a marketing message that I've offset on my car. But you really haven't done anything.
That's Scott Kirby, the CEO for United Airlines. The airlines know that offsetting, to quote Jeffrey, and he's quite right, is bullshit. It is. We know it is. You know, it's utter garbage. It's just too easy. You book your flight and pay an extra, what, £30, and all of a sudden that's fine, and it's going to ease your conscience. It's absolute garbage, and we need to start calling this out, calling it out for what it is. That's not the answer. Offsetting 100% is not the answer. And these are the kind of things that we've been thinking about when we created the Climate Friendly Travel Plan. So what we've created is a social enterprise that will make travel better, fairer, more resilient for everybody. It's a loyalty club for climate conscious travellers. So what we're in a sense trying to do is to get the growing number of climate conscious travellers and put them together with climate conscious organisations, of which, by the way, most of these are SMEs. We were talking a lot yesterday about SMEs. That's all of our registry members. Most of them are SMEs, and they need help, and that's why we give them that help. And that's why we're trying to introduce them to an audience who will appreciate their efforts in this particular field. We focus on destinations that actually really need tourism. Those are the least developed countries on Earth, the LDCs, as defined by the United Nations, and the SIDS, the small island developing states. So what we do is we created, on the club, we have all of the destinations. We'll be featuring all the destinations from the least developed countries and the small island developing states. And we've assigned them a little badge And what that's telling each one of our members is that if you book travel to one of these destinations, your travel is having a real impact. Something else that we've been talking about is we talk all the time about having our travel make an impact, not mindless travel. I was nearly going to think of having a slogan against mindless travel, and I still would like to do something. But it's about having more meaning. But what this stuff also is, it gets us thinking about having a positive return on the emissions that we are using. So we know when we fly with creations, and that's not good. At least let it be worthwhile. At least let it be worthwhile. If you travel to these economy in a very positive way. Nobody else, to be absolutely clear, organization in the world, the LDCs and the CIS nations. We're the first. This is a snapshot for how we position them. And by the way, at this point, I will say, I know there's a lot of people here with mobile phones, and you've probably got them in your hand, and maybe you're checking your emails or whatever else, and that's cool. But please do go on climatefriendlytravelclub.com and you can have a look at the site for yourself. We've opened it up today so that you can all actually see exactly how it's presented. And it's a beautiful, beautiful site. But as you can see here, this is how we show off the badges. Sorry, I'm pointing at the badges because I can see the screen. You can see how we show the badges so that people can see where these destinations fit with regards to the LDCs and the CIS. Sports, climate conscious partners, and they're all signed up to the next registry, absolutely committed to Paris 1.5. They're working incredibly hard on their own sustainability journey, and that's all of the properties. That's their entryway into the club as well. And once they're part of the registry, we also do. I do a podcast with them. We do the Climate Friendly Travel podcast. We've built up a huge following now. It's on iTunes and Spotify. If that's your thing, please do join. Because what we do is we speak to each one of these property owners, for the most part, and operators. And we ask them, how are you doing on your journey? What were the quick wins? What are the struggles that you have on the ground? And it's really, really eye-opening. It's been great for me from a personal point of view because I get to speak to owners on the ground at the coalface on a weekly basis. And I get to hear it from them, and they're from all over the world. So I get a really good holistic picture as to exactly what's going on. And here's the great thing is, our registry members, they also get that picture because they're learning from each other through the podcast. They listen to the podcast and they learn, they're doing this, maybe we can do that as well. It's an exchange of ideas. It's really great if you get a chance. So our properties are all on a sustainability journey. Another point I will make is that they're all on a sustainability journey, and some of them are far more advanced than others on that journey, and some are just starting out. But the ones that are advanced, they would also say, when I say, you guys are amazing, they're doing everything, I think. I said, what do you have to do now? I said, well, no, we're only just starting. We're not doing enough. That's what they all have in common. We're not doing enough. We need to be doing more. And it always makes me, I'm kind of humbled by it, really. Because they are so utterly driven. If I may dare say so, possibly more than the big guys are, but they seem to take it really personally, and it's to be commended. So we're helping these small, medium enterprises, yet again, to get direct bookings. Why direct bookings? Why is that important? It's not to deliberately alienate travel agencies in the Northern Hemisphere, the wealthy North. Far from it. What we are trying to do, though, is make sure that there's no economic leakage, because it's the right thing to do, that more of the traveller's money remains in the destination rather than leaking back to Booking.com HQ in the Netherlands or Expedia HQ in the US. That's patently wrong. We want the money to stay in these destinations, especially the LDCs and the SIDSs, because it's the right thing to do. So we support climate-conscious properties, and we put them in touch with climate-conscious travellers, and that's our members. This is a membership who are passionately dedicated to doing the right thing by the climate and by the environment, and that's our core audience, and that's who we're looking out for.
Everyone has a travel story, something memorable and impact. All of us are travelers looking for that perfect something, and we're all interested in planning with more sustainability and climate-friendly objectives in mind. I'm Jeff Kistrek, CEO and co-founder of Trippian, and we're helping with responsible in-destination travel planning using personalization, AI, and data-driven recommendations to enhance the local travel experience. Trippian was founded around the core objective of supporting local businesses, merchants, and attractions. We do this by directing travelers to these locations that may be off the beaten path and away from the crowds. And our goal is really to support these local economies. We're very honored to be part of the Climate Friendly Travel Club and look forward to supporting their initiatives through innovation and partner collaboration. Our goal is to help everyone in the club feel and act like a local wherever they go.
So that's Jeff Kishuk there. You know, I mentioned before, and Jeffrey mentioned it yesterday, he didn't refer to us as an SME, I think he referred to us as we're a 2-bit organisation. But we are, we're an SME. And what we do as an SME, and I'm sure all of you will appreciate it as well, is we join together with others. We form partnerships, because together we can be stronger. And the guys at Trippian, they approached us and said, we want to help you. And we said, okay, well, you know, what do you guys do? What they do is they've got a really cool tool, which they have allowed us to use and integrate, whereby it automatically creates mini itineraries for anywhere in the world, only using locally owned and run businesses. Locally owned and run businesses. Again, talking about keeping more of the money in the location. So when you're looking for restaurants or anything else, it's not going to recommend any of the big chains from the US or Europe or anywhere else. It's only going to recommend the locally owned and run ones. And that's something, again, just feels right, doesn't it? Feels right. Feels like it's the right thing to do. And that's because we've got travelers who want to experience the local culture and the local people as well while they're there. So that's one of our partners. I want to introduce you to another partner now.
Namaste. I'm Prerna, the founder of EcoPlore. EcoPlore is an aggregator for sustainable eco hotels based out of India. We have personally visited and verified more than 250 eco hotels all across the country in India. And all these hotels are made up of mud, wood, bamboo, stone, all local architecture. And most importantly, all of them have a minimum of 33% tree coverage inside their campus. They also fulfill sustainable measures like rainwater harvesting, composting, solar panels, they grow their own vegetables, fruits, and many others. I'm glad to be an early participator of Climate Friendly Club, and I'm happy to be a part of Climate Friendly Travel Club, and all the best to Jeffrey, Jed, and Hans for this lovely venture. Thank you so much.
So that's Prerna from EcoPlore. Their properties, the 250 properties that she was talking about that are made of all natural materials, they're utterly wonderful. I mean, they've got character. You feel like you're really in India when you're in those properties. They're absolutely first class. But they're all small, independently owned and run. Very hard then to compete with the big guys. How do you get? That's why we're working with them, so that we can actually put them in front of climate conscious travelers who appreciate their efforts. And that relationship is one which we value greatly with Prerna. She's an absolute visionary, by the way. She's an amazing lady. And the last one I'd like to show you, the last partnership, is another one that's really important to us. This is going to be coming online probably in the next couple of weeks. And one of the things that we're really passionate about is for our travelers to understand what the environmental indicators are for each destination that they visit. So yes, you can look up the hotels and find out, what they're doing in terms of sustainability and responsibility. But what about the actual country that you're going to? What can you do with those? This is the next partner we've got.
Hello, I'm Tarek, the co-founder and CEO of Tokyo.com, where we are using satellite data to quantify the tourism impact on the environment. We are very happy to support the Climate Friendly Travel Club, a club of like-minded people who fully understand the climate urgency and who are looking to take action. We hope that you will enjoy the launch event and that you enjoy the club.
So with Flockio, what they do there is satellite data. They identify environmental factors, so they can track air pollution, they can track water usage and water availability, air quality, traffic pollution, you name it, and they're using that satellite data, they can zero in to down within 1 kilometer, okay? So where that's really cool is we've been working with them on making sure that each one of our destinations, we highlight the environmental indicators. No other organization that we're aware of in the world highlights the environmental factors and indicators which travelers should be aware of that particular destination. We're the first ones to do that, and we're doing it through the guys at Flockio. You see the main environmental indicators here. This is for the case of Sri Lanka, and if you can't read it, it's got Human Development Score, GDP Share of Tourism Score, Environmental Performance Rank, and Sustainable Tourism Development Rank. And then over on the far end, this is what we're working on right now. You're going to have an interactive map of the destination where you can zero in to down to 1 kilometer, and it shows you 5 different factors. You've got a tourism index, you've got protected areas, you've got water pressure, air quality, and I can't read, and urbanization is the other one. So that people can see what are the environmental factors at play in each of those destinations. Why do we do that? Because it's right that travellers are informed about this stuff. They need to know where they're going, so that they can research before they get there and be better prepared. So one of the last, we're getting towards the end now, don't worry. One of the last things that I wanted to talk about is the mechanics of this. And the mechanics are that for a traveller to join the Climate Friendly Travel Club, it costs just €60 a year, which is, I would say, negligible. What we're trying, we're not trying to sort of compete, but what we're trying to do is outline that that really represents amazing value for money, given all of their support in the least developed countries, the small and developing states, and so on. At the moment, this side here, and I get that it's very small, so I'll help you with this. This is an emissions calculator from Aviation Emissions, and it tells you that my flight from Manchester to Denpasar return was 6,954 kilograms of CO2, and I can offset that for €160, and then it didn't happen. Apparently, that's how it works, I think, with the offsetting. The offsetting is absolute garbage, naturally. It makes you feel good. I've done a bit. I've paid £160. It was that easy. There's been no meaningful change in the environment whatsoever. Let's make no bones about that. And your money's gone. Where's it gone? What's that £160 done? Who knows? I don't care. I've offset. It's not my problem. Come on, it's garbage. Versus what we're offering, and we're offering them a tool in the coming weeks where they can work out what their emissions were, and we'll create an amount. The money will be used for good causes, and that will be also to basically promote SAF justice, which is what we'll be advocating for very strongly for the least developed nations. And you get your money back. So that's £60 or €60 that you pay, you get it back in points to spend with climate-friendly travel partners. So you're creating this virtuous circle, which feels good as well, but it's more meaningful. And also you're supporting climate justice. And that's, in a nutshell, is our solution. So in summary, we actively support climate-conscious properties, and the entry point for that, if there's any climate-conscious properties here, is to join the SunX registry. We focus on the LDC and the SIDS nations because it's the right thing to do, and they need our help, and they need travellers' help. We're for climate justice for the least developed nations on Earth. We're for sustainable aviation fuel justice because, honestly, they're not going to get a look in unless we help them. They will not get that sustainable aviation fuel, and that will set them back massively, and that's a very, very dangerous place to be. And of course, we support climate-conscious travellers, and we believe that we are genuinely creating a better future for the global travel industry. And one thing to remember, we are a social enterprise. Jens was talking about social enterprises yesterday. We are a social enterprise. 25% of all of our proceeds go straight back into things like helping the chapters and all of the other good work that the SunX program does. So, we're not just purely about profit or anything else. We're about putting it back in and giving it back. That's our solution. Please join up yourselves to the Climate Friendly Travel Club and spread the word, and happy to speak to any of you afterwards if you'd like to have a chat. That's me. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now comes the fun part. Jeffrey and I, we've put our heads together, and World Tourism Network is about, of course, small and medium-sized enterprises and businesses. So we joined hands with this climate-friendly travel program. We will promote the club on WTN, on our website, on our media, and we actually will give our members a choice to also become a member of the travel-friendly travel club. So there will be a lot of synergies. And what we also do, Jeffrey and I, we've been running an organization called the International Coalition of Tourism Partners, what started actually with the Indonesian Coalition of Tourism Partners 20-some years ago. So we will bring the climate part into World Tourism Network under the ICTP umbrella, so it becomes an integrated part of WTN, but it's not interfering with any of the other projects. So we keep it separate and very prominent this way. And what we're going to do, you're going to say a few seconds, we're going to just sign this MOU here, and it's going to start as of today.
Thank you. Says I've just put €100 to the World Tourism Network.
Okay, thank you very much. So we will go to the next part. I give it back to, actually, you're going to know, we have a lady from Kenya. Give us a little bit of a feedback before we start with our panel. Okay. Oh, shake hands. Okay. 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 All right. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Do a coffee break. Okay. Coffee break. Okay. So we're running a little bit late. So right after the coffee break, we're going to hear from our friend from Kenya. Is that okay? And then we start our panel. So since we are late, so how long do you need a coffee break?
10 minutes, please.
10 minutes? Okay. 10
minutes, please, maximum.
Thank you. You want to do it before the coffee? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Hi, Modi. Morning.
Mas coba ngomong. Tes.
Cek mic. Cek.
Aman kok.
Menarik.
Iya, ini custom. Nggak nyala kok. Google-nya ada.
Ini kan nggak mungkin bikin sendiri. Nggak mungkin kan custom banget.
Nggak mungkin kalau ini custom banget.
Mas, mikir aja. Jadi 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Dapat sama berat.
Tapi nggak bisa dong tadinya jangan
Iya.
jadi itu
Iya. Nah, kalau memang mau
tetap di situ kalau kasih mikrofon.
jadi langsung dipanggil di stage, terus bilang sama mereka, just speak on the stage, nggak usah dulu.
Kalau mereka mau ada presentasi
Bisa, karena lebih enak.
mereka tinggal berdiri.
Berduduk juga boleh, sama
Bisa juga.
kasih tahu sama
Gitu.
ini nggak perlu berpodium.
Mas gede. Mas gede.
Lih, gede.
Kasih dulu
Minta. Video dulu apa?
Ladies and gentlemen, kindly please finish the program. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly please proceed to the ballroom. Thank you. Yeah, my friend is going there. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly please proceed to the meeting room. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly please be seated.
I don't know what it. Hang on. Let me turn the electricity on in the meantime.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ms. Nina Jabal from Aslan Venture to Kenya.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you're a bit refreshed from having tea and coffee, and you're ready to listen to me. I'm Nina Jabal from Kenya, and you're wondering what is, this Asian Indian woman from Kenya, Africa. She's not the same color, the same race. What is she doing here? But as you can see, we in Africa are people from diverse cultures, diverse backgrounds, from different countries or origins. But definitely, though I'm born in Kenya, born in India, so that's my birthplace, but Kenya is my home and has been for the past 33 years. Travel is my passion and always has been, and I've been in the industry for 32 years. My company is 16 years old, and I'm the founder and managing director for Aslan Venture. I just want to play a very short video, just a little to tell you about both what we do what we do all over the world. Okay, so that's a little bit about, and that's not a professional video. That was taken by me and my team. Yeah, so good. So let me talk about a little bit about tourism and, of course, what I present in SME. So tourism is about uniting the world, and that's what we think but it's also about people. People every step of the way, whether they are our clients or our team, our partners, communities, people that we communicate or are with in our daily lives. And for us, I know for everyone knows SME is crucial economy. As an SME, we feel that we are more flexible to each client's needs, and we give personalized. We are open to meet and they need, and our goal at our company is to be sustainable, authentic, and give personalized travel and experiences. We help create beautiful memories, and that those memories are not only for, we feel we try and educate as well with the hearing many things, hopeful, give in. You can't give monetarily, but you can give with what actions you take, again, with people you meet on your travels. And that's one of the reasons we say it's just not creating on the faces, smiles on the faces of our clients, but smiles on the faces of each and every person that our client needs. So I'll talk, about a bit about Kenya. Kenya, of course, is in Africa, East Africa. Kenya is an English-speaking country, English, so everyone speaks English, doesn't matter who it is. It's an internationally integrated country, which we are from different countries. People, doesn't matter, different races, different tribes come together, and they are very much accepted. Of course, Kenya is well known for the wildlife experience, but we also, and the wildlife experience is in their natural habitat. We have beautiful beaches, we have mountain, beautiful savannas. Of course, I know there's also, where Kenya is concerned, it's also over tourism. We try as much as possible. That's one of the reasons I would like to stay an SME. I don't want to go and become a huge brand. I want to be able to make a difference from the ground level and be there where we can be communicating with people and do not be mass tourism. We do not want to really encourage that. Yeah. So of course groups are welcome, and but in controlled numbers, and we hope we can make a difference with, and maybe able to educate. I've learned so much from listening to all of you, and that's been really great, because that's what we can do. We learn from here, we learn from places that we go to, learn from people, and that's what I'm here for. I'm come all the way just to be, so that I'm here in person to be able to connect and be able to be together and be able to make a difference, a little bit difference in this world. Yeah. So, of course, I'm here for collaboration and relationship building for both my outbound and inbound tourism, because we do both. So I'm here to see where I can, bond together, be able to connect together, have partnerships with Bali and the rest of Indonesia, to be able to see where can we get clients to, where can I actually be able to connect what my clients want or need, or try and bring that interest and connect it with Bali and Indonesia. And that's what we want. We do not want to just bring in people just to be here just because they've heard about something, but we want to see what is the interest of our, So we want to do targets. Not just generally anyone just say, okay, fine, just go to Bali, but see where can we connect people with, be able to experience, Bali at its best, Indonesia at its best. And that's what we want to attract for as well. We want Indonesians to be experiencing Kenya or East Africa in its, see people and meet people, see the animals in the natural habitat. Of course, we cannot compare, or we cannot, say beaches, we cannot compare beaches, but that's not what we are targeting as. I think what people need to see what it is known for. Until we can also, like I said, I'm hearing this about climate change and over tourism and everything. And we need to experience different things in different countries, because we don't know. Where are we leading to? Where are we going with all this? How long it will be there? So that's what I would like to say, and I would also like to thank Gagan, Muji, Ratna, and Ninik for facilitating this trip for me and for Bali for hosting me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dina.
Thank you, Dina. Dina is a really good example about an SME, a privately owned, small privately owned company that wants to make a difference. She wants to reach out to Indonesia, and she wants to get clients from Indonesia, obviously, but she also wants to send Kenyans to Indonesia. Good exchange, and I hope you find good contacts while you're here in Bali. It's a beautiful place. I think we're ready for the panel.
Thank you. We come to the main agenda of today's conference. The panel would like to call to come to the stage Deputy for Tourism Products and Events, Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy, Republic of Indonesia, Bapak Vincent. Chairman of Bali Medical Association, PMP, Dr. Julian Parker, silakan. Jakarta Anti-Aging Center, Indonesia Healthcare Tourism Promotion Board, Dr. Widya Murni. Institute for Integrated Regenerative Medicine, Dr. Genetic. World Tourism Network, Dr. Peter Talo. Chameleon Strategy, Bangkok, Thailand, Jens Ranker. General Manager, Turkish Airlines Indonesia, Giosgun. General Manager of Garuda Indonesia Denpasar Office, Babade Norman. And this panel will be moderated by Jürgen Stevens. This time is yours, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, thank you very much for being on this panel. I think it's, please go ahead. It's very timely to talk about medical tourism. Medical tourism was not known a while ago. And in many areas in the world, medical tourism is more about spas, or beauty and relaxation in a hot tub. There's also, it's not directly medical tourism. That's more like wellness tourism. So today, I think we're going to hear a little bit more about wellness and medical tourism. I'm really glad we have an international audience that knows something about it. I know Bali has some exciting developments in this field. Our friend from Turkey has been a leading country in the world for medical tourism. I tell you myself, I'm trying to get it's finally done in Turkey. And of course, the United States, Peter, he teaches medical tourism, so he knows a lot about it. So it's going to be a really good panel. I think we have limited time, of course. We're late, like always, but that's Indonesian time, so we're going to be okay. Maybe what we could do is go around, and so everyone can introduce yourself, and let us know your comments and your thoughts maybe about the subject you place, or give us any information you think is important, maybe 5 minutes, and then we can go around, maybe get some questions or some interaction before we get some lunch. So why don't we start, easiest just to go around with Mr. Hachi Osgun, and I don't speak Turkish. I told you before, I've been to Istanbul a million times. It's one of my most favorite cities, but I don't speak Turkish as a German. So I hope I pronounced this correctly.
They all speak Hebrew.
Okay, go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome today. My name is Hachi Omar Osgun. You can call me Omar. I'm Deputy General Manager Turkish Airlines in Indonesia. I've been living here for 5 years in Japan, actually. So we can speak English, Turkish, or Bahasa, no problem. Then, you know, the Turkish Airlines flies more countries than any other airlines in the world. We fly 344 worldwide destinations with 429 aircraft. Because of Istanbul's location, one of the most convenient places in the world for transit flight. So it makes us one of the most convenient airline company for tourism and also business purpose, and also medical tourism as well. Istanbul is one of the best destinations in the world for medical tourism. So for Istanbul or for Indonesia, what purpose you want to fly as medical tourism or wellness tourism to Indonesia or to Istanbul? Turkish Airlines provides one of the best service, and also Turkish Airlines provides good benefits and price for this purpose. So if you have any question, then after that I will try to reply you. So thank you for coming here tonight.
Thank you very much. Let's go to Jens.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks again for WTN for inviting me to this fantastic event. It's great to be here. My name is Jens Trainer. I'm the former CEO of Barbados Tourism for the last 2 years in the Caribbean, and previously I was the Executive Director of the Mekong Tourism Coordinating Office based in Bangkok for the past 8 years. And I'm the founding partner of eTN Strategies, which is a bespoke strategy consulting firm really focusing on destination management. And as it relates to destination management, I think wellness and medical tourism is an important component when it comes to product development and experience development. I think it's important to differentiate, though, between medical tourism and wellness tourism. I think especially in countries like Korea, Thailand, and other ones, I think medical tourism is a important revenue builder for economic development. Living in Thailand, living in Bangkok, obviously there are top-class hospitals, probably some of the best in the world, that have outstanding services, but obviously also provide a very good price-value system that motivates people from all over the world, if it is from the US or the Middle East, to come to Thailand to get medical treatments combined with obviously good weather, good service, and maybe a post or pre-vacation. So I think Thailand has been positioning itself really as a medical tourism destination. For me, I think the whole notion of wellness tourism is probably more interesting when it comes to destination management. I spoke yesterday about social enterprises, and even with our experience in the collection that we developed in the Greater Mekong sub-region, comprising of countries from Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, Thailand, Vietnam, and parts of China, we had wellness tourism experiences there that go into the wellness area. Massages for blind people, really it's developing people and giving back to the social system. So I believe that wellness tourism really to create experiences, but then giving back to the community and building sustainability can be a very important component. Thank you.
Very good morning to everyone. And we would like to thank WTN for inviting us, and also to especially to Ibn. Basically, I'm from two parts of the world, from Malaysia and also from Sweden. And we actually, I'm in practice for the past 34 years as a modern medicine. I was trained in modern medicine, that's allopathic medicine, where we are based in pharmaceutical intervention. But for the last 20 over years, I've been focusing more on natural medicine. And those days we started with the word anti-aging medicine, and then we evolved to now integrated medicine, where a lot of modalities, like you of functional medicine, energy medicine, aesthetic medicine, is all under that. So what we do is that we give the patients a choice. if they want to go the pharmaceutical way or the natural medicine way. And it's a choice for people because, as you know, the fourth leading cause of death today is actually ADR, which is adverse drug reactions. It's the fourth leading cause of death is giving people the wrong medications. So we have discovered the world of natural medicine. We date back to 7,000 years actually, especially when it comes to herbal medicine. And this is where I think a lot of these plants are indigenous to Southeast Asia. And this is where we can actually do it in a very systematic approach, in a very professional platform. But it's also there in other parts of the world, other continents like Australia, right? And in Europe, where we use herbs. So this integrated medicine is just not about eliminating or leaving out modern medicine. It's about the synergy of diversity in medicine, what suits the patients best. So for the past over 20 years, I've been in the space of being an educator in nutritional medicine, in natural medicine, in herbal medicine, in aesthetic medicine, because all this can be done in a natural way. And actually in Indonesia, they have one of the best traditional medicine. And we are speaking about integration in a very, very professional platform. I think coming to this forum, which is tourism, it's fantastic. There's no better land than this. Come for a holiday and come for natural medicine in an integrated medicine manner. I have lots to speak about it since we're running out of time. You can catch me later for lunch or anything like that. And I'll pass it to my peer, Dr. Vidya. She will speak from the Indonesian landscape. Okay, thank you.
Hello, very good morning. Thank you, Ibu Mudi and World Travel Network for inviting me. I'm Dr. Vidya from Jakarta Anti-Aging Center. Just as what Dr. Jayati said, that I'm also practicing integrative and functional medicine. We try to find the root of cause. And if we work for the health tourism, we're not working only for the sickness, but also for the healthy people. Maybe some of the travelers are not getting well, so they might try how to become healthier while they travel in Bali. In pandemic, we have so many things to learn that if we don't have an optimum healthy life, we cannot become the traveler. So we have to educate the traveler and all the stakeholders that how to keep healthier so we can go travel all over the world, and how to become healthier and how to revitalize your sickness while you are in Bali. So we will have the network here, the World Travel Network, and we are starting to kick off for today, and we see that maybe the next year we have to evaluate what have we done and what should we do for the demanding market. So we are ready to have the World Travel Network working for Bali as a health tourism destination.
We're giving it to Deputy for Tourism Products and Event from the Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy, Vincencius Gemano.
Okay, thank you, moderator. I'm very happy to be part of this session here, and I am one of the deputies in the Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy, responsible for the tourism products and events organization. What makes me happy to be one of these participants today that now Indonesia is trying to differentiate and diversify products of tourism. Why? Because one of the key success factors of tourism is how you differentiate and how you diversify your products. Well, as far as the health tourism is concerned, if you look at the global statistics, this kind of tourism has brought 10%, 10.8% in the last 4 years. And it's believed to be growing by 16% until 2025. Okay? Moreover, if you look, I'd just like to take the example for Malaysia. Okay? You know how many people, Indonesian people, go to Malaysia for health tourism, medical, and for wellness? So from 1.2 people for health tourism in Malaysia, 60% are from Indonesia. 60% from Indonesia. So there is a linkage. So based on this, a few years ago, President Indonesia, His Excellency Joko Widodo, is thinking hard how to develop this health tourism, medical and wellness. So based on this studies, in the short term, the goals of Indonesia health tourism is also including the wellness and medical, to prepare Indonesia as a primary health tourism destination and to gain trust of Indonesia. This is very important. How to get trust from Indonesian people themselves. Because this is the main point. They still believe that Penang or some of the cities in Malaysia are the best for wellness or health tourism. So the first thing that we need to gain the trust and the conscious or awareness from the Indonesian people themselves. And these goals were also driven by the shift in tourism trends. Now one of the global trends in tourism, some people are trying to find the healthy destinations, clean destinations, and also they concern more about health now. So this is also one of the driver. And if we try to lay on the groundwork, the Ministry of Tourism and Economy and the Ministry of Health already signed the MOU in 2017. And the development of promotion of health tourism until 2025 will primarily focus on medical tourism and wellness tourism. So these are two new products that we are going to focus on until 2025. And according to the surveys carried out by both ministries, Indonesia seek treatment for various disease areas overseas driven by a combination of trust, quality perception, convenience, and adequate supply. It is also noted that the type of service that most Indonesians look at are medical checkups. I think this is very important to know. Also, there are 10 key provinces with highest outbound spending on medical tourism. Jakarta, Bali, Riau Islands, Riau, East Kalimantan, North Sumatra, South Sumatra, South Sulawesi, East Java, and Central Sulawesi. And those are, looking for the tourism from Malaysia. So some of the most notable quick win programs the Indonesian government is trying to follow. The first, establishing a branding logo for health tourism. Organizing hospitality training by appointing the tourism polytechnic in Bandung to provide hospitality development, assisting for human resource, and also encouraging the formation of medical tourism management entities or bodies in several regions, whose role is to develop and promote the potential of regional medical tourism. Currently, it has been formed in 4 locations, namely in North Sumatra, province of Bali, North Sulawesi, and Malang City. So we try this as a template, and later on we try to amplify this in many provinces. So organizing the upcoming pieces also. So on 10 of October, we are going to have Indonesia Health Tourism Expo Forum. And this activity will be held in Jakarta. That brings together providers, medical and wellness, buyers,
travel tourism to make contacts and also business contracts in the context of developing Indonesian health tourism. I think you are also invited to join this forum. Okay, there will be a B2B forum. Okay? And also, I'd like to announce that the development of the special economic zone on health tourism in Sanur. Okay? This is led by the Ministry of State Enterprises and is mainly designed to further facilitate Indonesians with integrated world-class health facilities. So we are going to have a new area for the medical and wellness tourism in Sanur. Okay, and soon it will be, I think, officially inaugurated by the president, and maybe in February next year. And this also will be integrated into MICE facilities. So I think that's the information I'm going to share with you today, and we really need your ideas, insights into understanding more how to develop the wellness and medical tourism. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And one of the things we wanted to do at World Tourism Network is to establish an online forum. Anyone can put their input in, and hopefully we can share this with you and other stakeholders to exchange ideas. I think we're talking here about medical tourism now, both on the domestic and on the international part, so it becomes a really interesting discussion. Dr. Peter Talo is president of our organization, and I know he knows a lot about medical tourism because he told me that he takes a lot of time to keep me up.
Yes, I do. Good morning. What I'm going to do, as our time is very limited, is tell you about two particular parts of the world that are now quite into tourism, what they're doing and what they're doing. The reason I tell that to you is so that you can avoid it as you develop medical tourism here. Before I begin though, I do want to thank my friends from Turkish Airlines, which were kind enough to bring me here. Thank you for two wonderful flights. So if you have not been on Turkish Airlines, I strongly suggest you. Look at it, tourism is all about advertising. So I'm going to speak about Mexico, and I'm going to speak about Houston, Texas. Both of them have fantastic programs when it comes to medical tourism. They're similar and they're different. Let me first tell you just a few moments about Mexico. Mexico is incredibly lucky in that it's right on the border with the United States and in easy contact with much of Latin America. Therefore, geographically, it is easy to get to Mexico. Large numbers of Mexican doctors do very well along the border with the United States, and people can drive for the day, see a doctor or see a dentist, and come back. That's something you cannot do in Indonesia, but it's an advantage that Mexico does have. Mexico has terrific facilities, but it has 2 or 3 problems. The first problem is Mexico, much of it has a reputation for lack of security. And therefore, people are afraid to go and bring their families. And that creates an issue for medical tourism. Secondly, and this is very important for a place like Indonesia, it's not just performing an operation or doing an implant or getting a crown. When you go back, if you don't have a corresponding doctor in the nation from which the person is coming, the cost savings will immediately be eliminated. Thus, for example, you can go to Mexico and get an implant, an extremely high level of medical levels, for 1/4 of the price in the United States. But every time you need an adjustment, because an implant in dentistry is never successful the first time, you're going to have to go to your American dentist, who will not recognize the Mexican dentist. So you end up either having to fly back to Mexico, or you have to do the whole process all over again. So that is something that we've now taken into consideration, and we have learned the importance of connecting every doctor in Mexico with a doctor in the United States, so that the person needs a follow-up, they're able to get it at home and it's not going to cost them more money than they thought they were saving. Houston, Texas. Houston, Texas never realized that it was in medicine. It's one of the great medical centers of the world. Jürgen comes from Hawaii, which has the worst medicine in the United States. I come from Texas, which has some of the best medicine in the world, not in the United States. If you've ever been to the medical centers in Houston, they're worlds, literally cities and cities of specialists and the top equipment in the world. People come from, especially Latin America, to Houston. Why? Because we are a bilingual state. Very few of us don't speak English and Spanish equally. Most of our doctors speak English and Spanish. So someone coming from Mexico can easily speak in his or her own language and not feel uncomfortable. On the other hand, Houston made a big mistake, which we're now only rectifying. And that is, people, you have to understand the culture of the country from which you're drawing. So the problem in Houston was, we were treating the patient. We should have been treating the entire family. So when someone comes from Latin America, they bring their entire family. But you cannot sit in a hospital room for 4 days while the patient is recovering. So now we've learned to have special tourism to take families of patients to wherever, to shopping, because people love to shop in the Galleria in Houston. Clothing in the United States is very inexpensive. People, we've developed a restaurant program. We've developed bilingual cultural areas. So that, for example, people can go to church or synagogue or mosque while they're visiting. So we now understand that medical tourism is not just about medicine, it's also about the culture that evolves around the patient. And therefore that becomes an essential part in your SMEs, in your development of economics. One or two very quick suggestions. One, the number one key to medical tourism is good knowledge of the language of the area from which you're coming. If you're going to draw people, for example, from the United States, your doctors have to speak fluent English without an accent. If you're drawing people from France, the same from French. From Germany, the same from Germans, or whatever. Secondly, understand the culture of from where people come from. Thirdly, culture depends on food. So if I bring someone from the Muslim world, for example, or the Jewish world to Houston or to Mexico, and they serve them pork, you just destroyed everything you wanted to create. If you do not understand holidays, if you do not understand the religions, if you do not understand the food requirements, you're going to fail. But if you do, you're going to be very successful. So again, this is, I can speak for 2 hours, I won't. This is giving you just a few pointers on, you're just beginning your medical tourism. Learn the mistakes from others and make it therefore successful. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dr. Judy Parker. I'm the chairman of the Bali Medical Tourism Association. So what I said yesterday, that I start to learn about the health tourism. But learning by doing, this is my concept. And we define, in health tourism, we divide into two groups. The first is health tourism or medical wellness, and the other side is medical tourism, based on the treatment of the sick people. And we look because Bali has opportunity for create this program, because first is Bali is famous for the tourism destination, and then we are as the referred place from the West Nusa Tenggara, East Nusa Tenggara, Papua, including that in the medical tourism, we have 17 members, operators, that we have a center of excellence. And some of the center of excellence is already the local people, including from the foreigners, special for the plastic surgery, for the dental, it's come from the Australia. And for the medical wellness, we start in the last 4 months. We create that we make integrated. We support that wellness, Balinese wellness is already famous in the world. But sometimes the people, the customer, need that there is an evidence base. For this, we make a program we call the medical wellness. So we integrate it between the medical and then the wellness, and then the Balinese traditional medicine, including herb, and then for the culture and resort. Because we make the two way, so the customer can come to resort, and then they have the wellness program in the resort. And if they would like to have medical services, they can contact for the hospital or clinic who have relation with the resort. The second way, that they come to the hospital, but they would like to follow the wellness program in the resort. So this is we try to make a program, and we start that once again, Bali will have opportunity, and the regulation now is more concrete. And for the medical tourism, we have a regulation from the Minister of Health, and then for the medical wellness, from the Minister of Health and Minister of Tourism, that one is from the Minister of Tourism said that they signed a bond between the Minister of Health and Minister of Tourism. So once again, this is we start to learn, and we know that there is a challenge for this, especially we are in Bali. This is about the accreditation, especially international accreditation. Mostly, our members is already national accreditation with the highest level standard. And the second is about the human resource, because for the specialist doctor, they can practice in the sweet place. So sometimes this is the problem in the services. And the second about the price. The price we compare with Malaysia, Thailand a little bit higher because there is a tax, a high tax for the medical, so it's make that our price level. And then the health insurance. And the last is about the promotion, because in medical there is an ethical for promotion. So this is why we hope that at this moment from the tourism sector can help me to promote what we have in Bali. So the people will be known about Bali. I think that's all. Thank you.
Very interesting. I think Mr. Alno.
Thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ari Nurman from Garuda Indonesia, Bali. So I'm going to share a bit about Garuda Indonesia in Bali. Currently, we have direct route for international from Bali. We have 5 routes to Sydney, Melbourne, Singapore, Japan, and Korea. And talk about medical tourism. For now, we use bigger aircraft for also Jakarta to Bali, so it will comply with the need for tourists that need their medical equipment in our aircraft, like a wheelchair or stretcher, and the others medical needs like oxygen bottle and others. As for this for this year, we also have several recognition for the globally as a Skytrack 5-star COVID safety rating, and then the most punctual airlines in the world from 2023 and what is very good into 2023. This hope, this achievement, we hope that can make to support the quality tourism from now and the medical tourism. Maybe that's all from us.
Thank you very much. And I say I have to quite fascinated by the responses, and I have tons of questions, so I don't think we have enough time. But we talked, the 2 doctors talked about treatment. Maybe in this panel we leave the domestic part out because it's a domestic issue, and maybe concentrate on the international opportunities in medical tourism. Now, and I can say that I have a lot out of my own experience because I ended up in a hospital a year and a half ago in the Philippines. When I came home to Hawaii, I couldn't get any doctor's appointments for follow-up, so my flesh-eating bacteria came back, and I had to get a very expensive treatment. I got it back under control. Now, finally, they only got it under control in Germany. So when I went to Germany, I saw all kinds of other specialists, like cardiologists, and they came up with different things and solutions. When I took these reports back to Hawaii, they're all in German. I speak German. For me, it wasn't a big deal. But the doctors don't speak German, and the insurance companies don't speak German. All of a sudden, they said they cannot cover it because I could not have a uterus. I said, well, I never said I had a uterus. So we had, there's a lot of miscoordination, I think, between treatment providers in another country and treatment providers at home. Now, how would you see you can overcome the problem? If you have a medical tourist getting treatment in your facility, they need follow-ups. And what Peter rightfully saying, how can this follow-up be communicated effectively so they don't have to come back and get the same treatment again?
No, sir. At the moment, everybody is borderless. So I also have a patient from abroad, let's say from Arab. And after I give my treatment, and we also can do the communication with the doctor through the email or through Zoom meeting, and they also can be treated by the doctor in the place. So no need to come back to having the same treatment with me, but we need to follow up. So what is the development and what needs to be for further treatment in their place?
And I'm sure
if I can add something to this, I think you don't want to, you're confusing a number of issues. In Jürgen's case, it was an emergency. We had to see a doctor in the Philippines. That is not medical tourism. That is the issue of finding a doctor because you're sick while on tour. Medical tourism is I choose to go to a place to get an operation because I want to combine it either with vacation or with less expense. Those are two very different concepts. So you want to distinguish between those two. In either case, though, if we're talking about medical tourism, the doctor must have, prior to your coming, a corresponding doctor in the home country so that you're able to follow up. Now, that's not the same thing as in Jürgen's case, where he ended up just by accident going to a doctor. So do not confuse those. That you will make a major economic mistake if you do. Secondly, you have to know which countries, if medical tourism is a form of tourism, the emphasis is on the tourism, not on the medicine. Therefore, you have to be able to find ways to bring people here you're promoting. For example, once a year in Mexico, we have a convention of medical tourism where I have 500 doctors coming together, talking about how they can work together to bring in people from their key markets, which tends to be Canada, the United States, and Brazil. So therefore it has to be in English and in Portuguese. But it's already pre-planned. If you do not build a good base, you will collapse. If you build a good base, you will succeed. But if you don't start from the point of medicine, you start from the point of the customer and the tourism, and then the medicine is what you're getting afterwards.
And you have a very good point, Peter. Yes, please.
Yes. Basically, yes, there's a huge sharp distinction between acutely you're seeking for a medical emergency and a plan. So the plan one is what we're talking about, medical tourism. Exactly. Then comment, I see a lot of Indonesian patients in Kuala Lumpur, all right? And I think they like to come to Malaysia is because we have the same culture, we speak the same language, and we understand your superstitions, your fears, your worries, your anxieties, and we know how to have the holistic approach. That is why even they're very rich. They could actually fly to US and pay USD, but they like to come to Malaysia because they have that relationship where we understand the culture. So this is why, like you say, if you have a plan thing, like in integrated medicine, you can do from sick care, from sickness, the whole spectrum, from sickness to wellness. Like what Dr. Vidya says, wellness is a huge industry. It's going to be bigger than sick care. Because sick care is very expensive. You need a lot of capital investment to build hospitals. State-of-the-art hospitals cost a lot of money. Whereas in Indonesia, you already have the whole infrastructure for wonderful wellness, a medical wellness program. And this is where we can help because we do have the expertise. So instead of them having this leakage to fly out to Malaysia, we bring a team and people could stay back here. And this is where, I mean, it's a win-win situation. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Would you design medical tourism, non-emergency medical tourism treatment is best when you can conclude this treatment on the specific trip? Or can you do a treatment what needs a lot of follow-up treatment? So if you talk about alternate medicine, you may have to take alternate medicine for some time for it to kick in. It's not weak, right?
Yeah, we have to be ready for whatever the people need. Maybe some of them need the acute treatment, so they need the ordinary hospital, but we also will provide the very special need that might not here at the moment. So we will provide them because of the demand is very high. So you might need the spa, but you need also the doctor who can treat the wellness inside out. So you not only need massage, but the doctor can keep you healthier forever, not only today.
And that's health medicine versus medical tourism.
Right. And that, of course, would need some kind of communication in the form of a report in English that is readable around the world at your own doctors. And it's not only Malaysia and Indonesia, it's a different matter. So you can actually get the follow-up when you come back to Bali the next year. You can continue your treatment from that.
If the patient keep the trust on you, they will try to find you wherever they are. So let's build the good network.
And do you think such networks are possible in form, you mentioned Zoom, Viber, WhatsApp, to establish, would that be a good idea for doctors to establish with the patients?
Surely.
And that's really what I wanted to come out. World Tourism Network is a network. And I think this could be a good ambition. Doctors are all small and medium-sized businesses, for the most part, 90% of the part. So there is a mission to help facilitate and find partners who can build an effective network between certain medical destinations and home destinations.
Careful, you're making a big mistake. Most doctors in another country will not get on a Zoom meeting.
I was getting to that.
If you're going to build it on Zoom, you're going to fail.
I agree.
Let me point
I
that
agree. I agree with you,
yes.
Because the first one, it has to be in person.
Yes.
It has to be in person because it's just a Zoom thing, and you can't even feel. We have another thing called energy medicine, integrated medicine. You will know the spirits of the patient. So that's the other holistic approach. I totally agree. It has to be one in person, then you can follow up on digital. Yeah, you could do that.
But again, you're doing this backwards. You're going to end up failing if you do this, you continue on this level. You're doing it backwards. First, you build the tourism part of it, and you build the relationship part of it, and then you add the medicine. If you go the other direction, you're going to fail. I cannot, in 2 or 3 years, just like Jeffrey says, in 10 years, you'll have a climate crisis or whatever, age we're talking about. In the same way, I'm warning you. If you build a roof without a foundation, the roof will collapse. First you build the foundation, and then you build the roof. And we have to be very careful. For example, we have a gentleman here from Turkish Airlines. You cannot have medical tourism if you do not have a relationship with the airline. Suppose I need to come, I want to come to Indonesia for whatever operation it is. But if I can't get here, or the airline will not care for me, or will not provide a stretcher, or whatever it is, your tourism will collapse. So one of the parts you have to deal with is transportation. How do you work with the airlines? How will the airlines provide special food if that's needed? That's a key part if you're talking medical tourism. If you're talking medicine, I'm just going to my local doctor. If you're talking health, wellness, I'm going because I want to stay well. Those are different. But if you're talking medical tourism, if Jurgen is going to go to get an implant, and he ends up with a toothache on the plane, he can end up having a heart attack. That's the problem. So he has to think through what are the issues dealing with not only being in a place, but also how does he get there? How long does he stay? Is he working with the airline? Is he going to be able to see a follow-up dentist in Hawaii? Will the dentist in Hawaii recognize the dentist in Turkey? You have to start from the ground up and then build. I'm sorry if I'm beating this into you, but again, I don't want you to fail. I want you to succeed.
No, this is definitely the most important thing. Networking is because it's not all about competing. The whole network is there. Tourists are not on the move to a destination. They go to a destination to enjoy this destination and get medical treatment, possibly, or wellness treatment. And that's why I found the special zone, what is in process here in Bali. Maybe you can tell us a little bit more. What does this special zone do for international inbound medical tourism? Is it a zone what is tax-free? In some instances, was there certain facilities that are not available someplace else, or certain partnerships? What are the plans for this?
Well, thank you. I think there are almost 8 or 10 facilities or businesses that we are providing in the special economic zone for tourism, and including the tax, including also the goods coming in. They will get a special tax for it, and even free. So that's why the government is really pushing this special economic zone for the medical tourism, and it is also my purpose to put it in Bali, because Bali is the barometer of Indonesian tourism in general. Bali is also globally known. And what is interesting in Bali, that actually one person that is quite challenging towards for him, because he has a lot of experience in Mexico, right? Yeah. Because we are developing now a special economic zone for medical tourism in Sanur. How to convince the members of the family to follow the tourism product? Because psychologically, when they come for medical tourism, they think about the patient. Maybe they don't think of how to enjoy the shopping or the food and so on. How, from your experience, how can you convince their family?
First of all, again, distinguish. One is I'm coming because I'm choosing an elective medical treatment, and the other is I need the medical treatment. Those are two different things. You have to have things available. For example, we work very hard. When you check into the hospital, we sit down with a counselor. We tell you what is available. We tell you, while you're here, you're having a good time, make your loved one heal faster. Because there's a psychology to this. We know very carefully that if the family is in pain because the patient is going through an operation, then the patient is worried about his family and not about getting better. So you want the patient to feel that the family is being taken care of. In the same way, for example, when you choose an airline, let me give you, if you don't want a low-cost airline, for example, when you go use Turkish, I'm sorry if I'm beating up on you or saying nice things, but Turkish Airlines is very good on customer service. They're very good on taking care of people who need a little bit of extra help. You want that type of airline. You don't want an airline that's just a bus in the air. You want someone that's going to give personalized service. Medical tourism is about security for the family and security for the patient. But that means you have to have activities for both and develop a relationship with both. And if the patient is not worried about his or her family, then they're going to not have the same fears and worries that if they were worried. So right from the beginning, you let them know while you're healing, we're there to take care of your family. And a place like Indonesia, you're great at this. This is what you do.
I think our time is about.
She's trying to say.
Okay, yeah, that's why I wanted to go and get the question. Go ahead.
I have a question from several of the panel. We talked earlier about visas coming to Indonesia. I can see tourists coming in for wellness. Do you have a special visa for medical or different organ? And if the family come along for the person having a significant medical procedure, what visa do they come in on? Is there going to be a special category if that's what you are promoting?
I don't think they have started to refer to you because you're from the government. So you're perfect.
Okay, I think this is a very interesting question. Okay, so the government now is trying to, make some facilities for the tourism for medical tourism. Okay, among others, we try to provide a special line in immigration, so there's no queue for that. And also, we try also to have a special visa, okay, to let them, feel comfortable while they're coming in for a medical checkup or medical check. Okay. We learn a lot from Malaysia, the best practices, so we try to also implement it in Indonesia.
So is there a special visa now for medical?
Not yet, because it's still in the process of development. So I'm quite optimistic after February, once the the inauguration of the Special Economic Zone for Medical Tourism is officially opened by the president. I think we are thinking about this visa.
So stay well for the next year.
We have to promote from now on.
Yeah, maybe this is my experience around medical tourism. The situation from is Timor-Leste come to Bali, and there is no special visa for that. But I think coordination and collaboration with the immigration, because this is must be there is a special way for to get the patient come to our hospital, like this. Yeah.
You do need a special medical visa because there is an after, is after effect. All countries that do medical tourism do have medical visas. The reason being, when you get back on an airline, and that I'm sure Fetish knows about it, that when you go as a medical patient, when you get back on an airline, you already had a procedure. There's a letter from the doctor which needs authorization to board the plane again, because that same patient can have some problem on the flight. So there are things that happen. There is a need for a special medical visa.
Yeah. For the clinical patient, they usually use the team for the emergency. Yeah. So the team will be consistent.
No, I'm not talking about that. It is a necessity by airlines. that if you have a medical procedure, you do need a medical clearance, yes, to get back on a plane. Otherwise, they will not take you on. And I've seen this.
How does it work in Turkey?
In terms of medical treatment.
So the basis.
So, country to country, the rules and regulation can change, and there is a thematic system, and the other countries handling team check the regulation. If your situation is available to board, they accept. But if there is remarks, this passenger has this kind of condition, they need to show this kind of paper based on the which country you start to travel.
I'll go back to this. India does not have a special medical visa and a special
permission to go back, and they ran into problems. So they had so many problems that they made a law that you cannot, if you have come on a medical visa, you do need to have clearance from your doctor, giving your condition of what procedure you had before you can board a flight. India does not allow any medical passengers to go back with all those information.
And of course, every country is different, of course.
But I'm saying, no, the only reason that it happened is because they didn't have this. They started having problems. That's the reason they brought that in.
Yeah, if you have,
that's what you need to look at as well.
if you have been in medical operation, also your doctor has to provide fit to fly report. Without fit to fly report, you cannot accept.
I think Jens had
Also, I want to give another example. Like in Turkey, there are some medical organizations that they provide full package for customers. It includes airline tickets, and also travel agencies provide any hotels or something like that. Then you can buy whole package. Then they provide all kinds of documents they need. Then as a patient, you fly to Istanbul or another country, you got your treatment, and you can visit some area that you want to see. Then after that, with all documents that you need, then you can back to your country, and also you can continue your relation with doctor and hospital as well. I think that full package is more useful for customer and patients.
Maybe just to add, Thailand just implemented a special visa for medical tourism. So I think it is an important point, and it has really elevated Thailand as a medical tourism destination. It allows medical tourists to stay longer, and it can also be, I think, connected to family members as well. It's very important what Peter said before. It's not just the patient, but it's the entire ecosystem around it as well. So I think it's a very important point, the medical visa.
And of course, there is another addition to this. If something does go wrong, and there are all of a sudden expenses the tourist did not budget for, because of course when you come for medical tourism, you know pretty much how much you pay, you have this money available. But what about if there's a catastrophic situation emerging out of this? Would insurance companies cover this? Should doctors that treat medical tourism be connected to major insurance networks such as the US Blue Cross Blue Shield? What is the contingency plan to make sure, no matter what happens during medical tourism, if something goes wrong, what would be a plan B?
And there's a second part to that, and that is lawsuits. Because if something goes wrong, that patient may start wanting to sue or looking for legal procedures. So you have to have not only, but that's not the country's responsibility, that's the ministry's responsibility to work with insurance companies around the world. In other words, for example, and my insurance covers me wherever I am in the world. So I don't have to worry. And other places that may, for example, have a national tourism, national insurance, they may or may not cover you if you go out of your country. The second part of it is you have to be prepared for lawsuits because there are legal issues. If, for example, if there's malpractice on the part of the doctor, both the local institutions and international institutions need to be looking at that. So what I'm saying is, again, what we're saying is you look first at the basics, and that is the tourism part. Then you add the medical part to it. You don't do it the other direction, where it'll blow up.
And any more questions, please?
I'd just like to make a few comments here too, and speakers have addressed the spectrum in the last few discussion points, raised the issue that we're coming very much from a medical perspective. Already we're talking health tourism as an umbrella term, and we have a spectrum from wellness to medical, and I think those points were made by various speakers. Very important. We talk tourism. Already we're focusing on medical tourism at the moment. It's very specific. I watched a webinar not too long ago on health tourism, and one point was made actually by Dr. Tala Barifai. It's exactly what we just talked about. You know, the critical incidents, the systems approach, that, you know, what's been talked about from the legal perspective, all of that needs to be addressed. But coming back to tourism, we're looking at supply and demand. We're looking at special interest tourism across spectrum from wellness to health tourism. What is the special interest? What is the niche part of the tourism? Within that framework of health tourism, let's look at that from a demand side and how it's applying that. We talk about wellness tourism. We exist in body, mind, and soul. We travel in body, mind, and soul. Right? That's where the holistic approach comes in. Very important to bear in mind if we're talking tourism. What is the attraction for tourists to come to Bali, to Indonesia, compared to, say, go to Germany? I lived in Dubai, I went to Germany, all the Arabs, a lot of them go to Germany for medical tourism, right? And they've got fantastic facilities in Dubai, they are saying, right? So what is the attraction to go to the country from a tourism point of view? So this is what I think we should possibly also look at, rather than getting focused on the medical tourism. Just on my point, so if we can elaborate on that tourism aspect, because it's a tourism conference, how can we combine that and be aware of that spectrum as to supply and demand, whoever's involved, all the various SMEs perspectives. That's just my comment.
May I add on the visa part, because I've taken patients from Indonesia to Germany for stem cell treatments, okay? And I have written letters, and they got the visa based on from the doctor's recommendation for stem cell treatment in Germany. And the other thing I would like to commence my experience 25 years ago, but commercial airlines. I've accompanied patients from New York to Kuala Lumpur, and airlines are fantastic. Once you have a doctor's letter, they know what to do exactly. They have all the backup and everything. So I believe even commercial airlines is all prepared. So all this thing about medical tourism is just not from the medical part, the doctors. Every surrounding stakeholder plays a vital role in the whole support of the industry of medical tourism. So we cannot stand alone, just the medical people. You are absolutely right. It's the airlines, the hospitality, the visas, and all of that. And I think medical tourism has been there because I've been in that for so many years. And it's well facilitated, but it's just maybe not stipulated that well yet. And this is where maybe you guys can come in your experience, how to really write down the rules and make it very friendly for people, for patients, to know that this is it's not a stressful process, but it is, you know, it's all there. It's just that we need to get together and put it all nicely on the paper.
It leads to international coordination and cooperation, and that would be a big mission to accomplish. But the world is easy. It's easy these days to communicate and find these type of agreements. And it probably takes also for governments to sometimes understand we really should look at our country from outside a little bit than from inside, because you wanted to get tourists from outside who don't understand the inside. So all of this can work in harmony. And I think we're pretty much out of time. Lunch is ready. But if there's any last question, we would entertain it. If there isn't, we're going to meet back here at 1 o'clock.
Where do they go for lunch?
Yes, we're going to go for lunch. And
Where?
Well, that's what's going to be our master of ceremony telling you right now. But I just wanted to say, Peter, who's very hungry, but when he gets back at 1 o'clock or 1:15, and because we're now already 15 minutes past, he's going to have his session on safety and security. So it's going to be, I can guarantee you, I've been a number of events Peter's talked to, one at the Hawaii Convention Center, and he had the worst slot of any session. You would not believe, people did not go for lunch because they wanted to say, no, please go on. So you got to come back here at, is it 1 o'clock or 1:50? 1:50. And where is lunch?
It's in Pandawa, in the 6th floor. Same like yesterday.
Okay.
Right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Right.
See you soon.
Once again, round of applause for the panelists. Thank you very much. Yes, so ladies and gentlemen, lunch will be at the Pandawa room. If you take the elevator to the 6th floor. Thank you.
And of course, I didn't want to forget this, but after Peter's session, it's going to get equally interesting when we hear from Evergreen College in Canada. They came all the way from Canada, and we're talking about education and other issues before there is a signing of an MOU and a conclusion with the cocktail tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, well, support. Yeah. So, thank you, Bobby. And I can thank you for